Alright, let's graph an exponential function. Why? Because we're awesome, that's why. Let's do it. So, I've got one for us here. Pretty basic, so we're not, it's not too wild and crazy. So we can just focus on the concept of what you would do to graph this. And just as a reminder, the graph of an exponential function is going to look something like this. This is actually the function y equals e to the x. Don't worry about that e for now. You'll learn about that one day. Get my yellow color back. Okay, so step one is to create a little table of points, of coordinate pairs, so that we can then plot those on the coordinate plane. So y equals 2 to the x. So let's just pick some values of x and then see what we get for y. Y is kind of the output value of this function after you plug in x. So let's throw in some negative numbers in there for sure. I mean, do what you want, but I highly recommend getting some negative numbers in there so you get an idea of how this works. Put 0 in there, and then, I don't know, yeah, let's just do 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're going to plug each one of these into this function and then see what we get as a result. So, not sure where I'm going to write my work. Let's see. How about I delete this? Let's get that out of there, and I'll use that for my scratch work. And I'll write out the work a few times, and then maybe I'll just say it. Okay. So we're plugging in negative 2 for x, so this part of it would become 2. So to the negative second, which is the same thing as 1 over 2 to the positive 2. That's what you do with the negative exponents. So 2 to the second is 4, so this is equal to 1/4. So if we have negative 2 for x, then we get 1/4 for y. Let's plug in negative 1 here into this function. So we get 2 to the negative first, plugging in negative 1 for x here, equals, it's a negative exponent, so this is the same thing as 1 over 2 to the first, which is just 2 to the first, which is 2, so it's equal to 1/2. So 1/2. And let's plug in 0. And you'll notice when you put in negative numbers for x, you'll get fractions like that. And plug in 0, so 2 to the 0. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Easy. Okay, now let's plug in 1 for x. So let's put, I don't know, hopefully you can watch me. So 2 to the first is equal to 2. So that would be 2. Now if we're plugging in 2 for x, our equation would be y equals 2 to the 2. I'm plugging in the 2 for the x. So 2 squared is 4. 2 times 2. And then finally we have 3 for x. We're plugging in 3 there. So our equation would be y equals 2 to the third. It's hard to see that that's a 3. That's an alien. Let's write it here. 2 to the third. That means 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So these points should give us the basic idea here. So let's plug these in. So what kind of scale do we need? The x's we can go by ones. That's fine. Everything will be able to fit here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, roughly 8 lines on my coordinate plane here. So we kind of have to. You know what? We can go by ones for both axes. So I'm just making sure that all our points can fit on this coordinate plane. So the lines will just go by ones. Exponential functions grow exponentially. Haha. They'll grow really quickly. So if you get, x is 4, 5, 6, stuff like that, your y's are going to be gigantic. So you might think about changing the scale of this, go by tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, or 100, 200, 300, whatever you need to do to fit the graph on here. Alright, so let's start plotting these points we have. So The first one is x is -2, so -1, -2, and then y is 1/4. So if this is 1, 1/4, maybe down there. It doesn't really fit very well in this graph. I apologize. -1, 1/2. So x is -1, y is 1/2. So a little bit higher, like that. Let's say. And then 0, 1. So x is 0, y is 1. And 1, 2. X is 1, y is 2. So 1, 2. And then 2, 4. So x is 2, y is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then one more point here. 3, 8. So x is 3, and y is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so let's connect those points, and we know that that the graphs of exponential functions almost touch the x-axis when they're over on the negative side here. So let's just make it skimming along, then it's kind of picking up a little bit, then goes through 0, 1, and then skyrockets. Oops. And that's invisible. So let's make it visible. There we go. Something like that. And I'll just put arrows on both sides. It goes on forever in both directions there. So yeah, there we go. There's a graph of y equals 2 to the x.